Welcome to the Humanist Frame. It is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. It's Valentine's Day, a day that tends to magnify things. Affection, expectation, memory, hope. But beneath the flowers and dinner reservations, you could say that Valentine's Day is really about one philosophical question. What does it mean to care for another human being? Aristotle described friendship, and by extension love, as a shared pursuit of flourishing. Not possession, not transaction, not performance, but mutual growth. The Stoics framed love differently, not as clinging, but as appreciating something precious while understanding its impermanence. And modern psychology reminds us that the deepest human need isn't romance. It's secure connection. To be seen, to be respected, to be valued. So maybe Valentine's Day isn't about proving love. Maybe it's about practicing it. Practicing generosity, practicing patience, practicing the kind of attention that allows another person, partner, friend, family member, colleague, to feel more whole in your presence. And that's not limited to couples. It's a way of being. And that brings us to something deeper. Because when we talk about love, dignity, and flourishing, we're already talking about ethics, which raises a question someone recently posed. Does humanism actually have a grounding for morality? Here's their comment on one of my humanist videos. They say, but what defines human values? Who gets to decide what is ethical and harmful? There's no grounding morality in humanism. It all ultimately comes down to preference and what the self wants. It is a religion of self-worth and self-worship. So let's explore this. When someone says morality must be grounded, they usually mean it's got to be rooted in something objective, something outside human opinion, something permanent. But here's the question. Why must morality be grounded in something supernatural to be real? Physics isn't grounded in a divine decree. Biology isn't grounded in scripture. They're grounded in reality. Humanism grounds morality in the reality of conscious experience. Pain hurts. Isolation damages. Oppression destabilizes. Trust strengthens societies. Compassion reduces suffering. Those aren't preferences, those are observable. Humanism doesn't say whatever people want is good. It says moral systems should promote the long-term flourishing of conscious beings. And flourishing isn't vague. Modern psychology gives us measurable indicators: autonomy, competence, relatedness, psychological safety, secure attachment, fairness norms. And when those collapse, societies fracture. So humanist ethics ask what structures allow these conditions to exist sustainably. That's not self-worship, that's social architecture. So then let's consider, if morality were to be grounded in God, wouldn't we still face a dilemma? We would have to ask, is something good because God commands it? Or does God command it because it's good? If it's good only because it's commanded, well then morality becomes arbitrary. If God commands it because it's good, then goodness exists independently. Either way, human reasoning is involved. So the claim that religion solves the grounding problem isn't as airtight as some might think. So the commenter says that all morality reduces to preference. Only if you define preference narrowly. If I prefer kindness over cruelty, that preference is rooted in empathy, social interdependence, evolutionary cooperation, cognitive awareness of suffering. That's not arbitrary taste like preferring chocolate over vanilla. It's tied to the structure of human social survival. We are a cooperative species. Ethics emerges from that reality. So, what about the final part of the commenter's claim? That self-worship is at the root of this. That humanism is a religion of self-worth and self-worship. Well, self-worship would mean my desires are ultimate. Humanism actually restrains desire. It says your freedom stops where harm begins. It says you are not the center of the universe, but you are morally relevant. That's a huge difference. Humanism elevates dignity, not ego. The divide isn't objective morality versus no morality. It's external authority versus shared human responsibility. Humanism says we don't outsource morality. We build it together, using reason, evidence, compassion, and lived experience. That's harder than obedience, but it is not emptier. If morality requires ignoring human suffering in favor of abstract authority, that's not grounding. That's distance. Humanism grounds morality where it actually happens, in conscious lives. And I will leave you with that on this Valentine's Day, 2026. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Humanist Frame.